If you only know how to connect to a woman's body and not her soul, this is why she doesn't crave you. Men mistake intercourse is just a physical act, but it's spiritual and an emotional exchange. When you think of the word SEX, it stands for spiritual energy exchange. And most men don't approach it that way. I'm not trying to shame you about it. I want you to understand what's really going on. We never get the proper education on these topics that we deserve. So, what does everyone do? We go and look at adult videos and we become misinformed. And in those videos, men are treating women like objects. The act is performative. There is no emotional connection. And they're doing these rapid fire jackhammer moves that women don't crave. Women that are numbed out from their bodies or disconnected from their bodies, or they've also been programmed by adult videos, may think this is what they desire. But it's because they haven't had something more, something expansive. This is also why a lot of men prefer virgins, because a virgin doesn't know any better. They're going to settle and be happy with whatever it is that you're experiencing with them because they haven't had anything that takes them to the highest levels of pleasure their body can experience. I know for myself, I thought that I had great experiences in the bedroom. I was very much like Samantha on Sex and the City, and I was having better lovemaking experiences than 99% of my friends. I was having multiple O's. I just thought I knew all there was to know. I was already a recurring guest expert on Playboy Radio and giving tips. My friends kept saying, you need to write a book because you know so much about this, because the tips that I shared with them had helped their marriages and helped them to be more orgasmic. When I was 44, and this is over a decade ago, I had my first tantric lover. And this literally blew my mind and changed my life because I was able to experience levels of prolonged ecstatic states of bliss and pleasure that I never knew was possible. I was able to experience these states and it was deeply healing for me. This can actually be a healing tool, just like the song by Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing. This is what this offers us. But if we are only approaching it for ego validation, for skin to skin and a quick hit, and that's it, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, that is going to leave a woman to where she's not craving repeat experiences, where she's not craving the frequency of it that you may desire, because it's meh, it just lasts for a few minutes. Men will complain about women being teases. Don't be a tease. You're giving me blue balls. Well, a lot of times facts are men give women blue ovaries. There's so many times that women don't even finish or come to a climax whenever they're having intercourse with a partner, and they will take the blame on that for themselves and just be silent in that frustration. But I will let you know, many times when I worked with women, they are able to climax when they're on their own. There's so many reasons that they're not able to climax with a partner. I'm not trying to say every man should be responsible for this, but you need to be aware of this, because if you knew how to take your partner to ecstatic heights of pleasure for prolonged periods of time, she would crave you so much more. You would find that her drive could actually be higher than yours. And that makes many men are uncomfortable. They think, oh, if a woman has a high drive, then she's not good wifey material, or then she's going to be desiring someone else and be on the prowl. So many crazy thoughts about women that are fully sexually empowered and are actually turned on and empowered by their sensuality and their pleasure. Where men sometimes will prefer women that are disconnected from it because it feels safer. It's not testing you or pushing you to what's fully possible for you to experience. Now, with what's happening on in our government level, unfortunately, is there's a lot of laws that are restricting women's rights for their bodies. That if they were to have an unwanted pregnancy, they would be forced to have it or could even face criminal charges. With new laws governing women's bodies, it's going to make women less and less desiring to have intercourse with men, because why risk it? Why risk so much and have so much on the line for someone who's not even able to last long or fully satisfy you, when you could just take matters into your own hands and have immense pleasure on your own? Why be bothered? How many men are feeling like if we police women's bodies, and we restrict their abilities, then we're having more control over women. And this is going to help what's been called the rise of the loneliness epidemic in men. And so a lot of men are frustrated with women. They're frustrated with the new independence women have been having. So now what they want to do is take that control and take that power back. Like the saying, make America great again, like it was in the good old days. Well, in the good old days, it wasn't good for women. And if you see the video that I shared last week, and I'll pop it here, a link, you'll understand more as I dive into how the patriarchy has really oppressed both men and women. So you really need to pay attention, because if you are not an advocate for women's pleasure, if you're not an advocate for women's rights and for their autonomy over their bodies, going to desire you, because you're not a safe space for women. Now, this is not all men, and some men are just not aware, but there is a majority of men, unfortunately. There are actually forums and groups with thousands and thousands of men that were discovered where they're actually talking about harming women and sexual violence towards women. This is definitely a turnoff for women. We are expected to mate and to be intimate with someone that can also be our biggest predator. When men and women first go on a date, men's biggest fear is that they're going to be laughed at. A woman's biggest fear is that her life will end. I can't tell you how many times that I've shared my location with friends, let them know where I'm going, who the person is, just in case. Is that something that you have to do with your fellow guys? Do you have to let them know when you're going on a first date with someone, just in case you go missing? There's a lot that's happening with women right now. And as men, it's time for you to rise up so that you can be aware of this, so that you can be allies to the women in your life and create a safe space so that her desire can freely flow. Because one thing is, a woman's nervous system, if she's undergoing a lot of stress, she's not going to be in her turn on. She's not going to desire you. She's not going to desire intimacy. She is in survival mode, fight or flight. Her nervous system is dysregulated. Everything that's happening in the world politically and the climate for women right now is hugely dysregulating. And it might not be something that you're feeling, but I can tell you women are feeling this. And so many men do not know how to last long enough for women. And that's why there is an orgasm gap. Men on average will last around 5 minutes, while women, it takes, with partnered intercourse, 20 minutes or more to be able to climax. That's creating a huge gap. Sometimes for women, it can take us longer to get ready for a date, to shave our legs and do all the preparation than even the act itself lasts. And then a lot of times it's men rolling over and they're done and they won't finish or do extra things to be sure that the woman is also satisfied. It's as if he's just out for his needs only and not even following through to see what the level of pleasure that the woman is experiencing. Now, when I had my first tantric lover, that was life-changing. And I will let you know that the type of lovemaking that I had prior to that really doesn't interest me anymore. Because once you have had the top of the top, the best of the best experiences, why settle for mediocre? I know a lot of the lovemaking in our world today is mediocre at best. Whenever I've been with partners that really know how to be incredible lovers, lavish attention on me, honor me as the goddess, have stamina for hours, and is a deeply healing and cathartic experience that awakens all of my senses. It taps into my power. It lights up my chakras. I am just oozing pleasure and sensuality and my femininity in these moments. I'm really feeling the magic of who I am in that creation energy. Man, that is something that I revel in. I love those moments. Ecstatic bliss. It is beautiful beyond words. I wish every woman could have that experience, but it breaks my heart because so many women will not. And a lot of it is that men have not been given the tools to be able to take women to these places. Sex isn't something that you just do. It's a place that you go. It reminds me of this old song by Depeche Mode. It was on the Violator album. And I loved it because one of the lyrics was, I want to take you on a trip around the world and back. You won't even have to move, just sit still. And this was in my early 20s. And I approached lovemaking that way back then. I felt, let me just take you to this place through this pleasure that we're going to experience. And I would have phenomenal experiences with my lovers because I was very tuned into my bodies. But not many of my lovers could match my level of where I was with my sensuality, with my pleasure, with my orgasmicness. they weren't able to fully match me. And I would notice this. And there were a lot of times that subconsciously, I didn't realize till later, I was actually like the reins of a horse holding back my pleasure, because I knew that if I let my pleasure ramp and ramp up, I would push my partner to the point of no return. And I wanted him to be able to last longer. When I was in my first tantric lover, I was so shocked because I noticed, oh my gosh, doesn't matter how many orgasmic experiences I'm having, he's got this. He is unfazed. He was just there like, yes, bring it on. I'm here for all of this. And I was like, wow, I can just literally explore and go to levels that I've never been able to take it to before. And I had what is called a Kundalini awakening in that moment, where my energy centers and my chakras lit up. My third eye and my crown chakra opened. And the only way I knew how to describe it was like a soulgasm, because it felt like an orgasmic experience that rocked me to my soul, to the core of my being. It was deeply healing and cathartic for me. My life was forever transformed. It completely changed my life path. We experienced 5 hours of intimate bliss and connection together, and it felt like maybe 20 minutes to an hour passed by. It was timeless, as if time had stopped. You know, they'd say, time flies when you're having fun. Now, he asked me that next morning, hey, would you like to come back again tonight? I was like, man, is that a question? I'm here for this. I thought maybe it was just a fluke at first, but then the next night, same thing happened. At the end of that, I sat up on the bed and I looked at him. I said, I just want to clone you and give one of you to all my friends, because inside my heart was breaking, because so many women I knew would never have this experience in their life. I realized that I had only been scratching the surface of what was possible for me, like the tip of an iceberg. That there were levels of pleasure that I could experience and places I could go to that I had never experienced before. So for the past few years, after I became a Tantra educator, I have focused on helping men. This is what I do, helping men so that men can be better lovers for themselves and for the women in the world. And right now it is Women's History Month. And at this point where women are being so oppressed by men that fear women, I'm shifting. My focus is going to begin to be more on the women and men who love women. I'm tired of spaces that are filled with men that believe in Andrew Tate and his low vibration thinking and his disrespect of women and being a predator. I'm not here for it. I'm here for men that want to be elevated, that want to elevate in love, that want to have deep, intimate experiences with someone and honor them and care for them, and to have this deep, healing, cathartic experience that they can both share, this exchange of energy and be empowered by it, manifest with it, create their lives with it, be in harmony and have deep love and bliss. I'm not here for the spiritual fuck boys. I'm not here for the ones that want to have their ego validated. And I know as a woman, I was in my toxic masculinity. I was having conquest to have my ego validated too. So I've experienced it. It's part of the human experience. But once you have an elevated experience and you've experienced more, you crave more. For those of you that really do love, honor, and cherish women, I just want to thank you. And I'm so glad that you've been here and been a part of this channel and watching my videos and are wanting to learn more, because we aren't born knowing this stuff. And then society dumbs us down. It gives us limited ideas of what's possible in our bodies, in our lives, with our health, so many areas. We've just been dumbed down. Tantra is about enlightenment. Tantra is about expansion. Tantra is about tapping into your intuition, into your inner power, to your wisdom. Tantra is a beautiful expression of your soul. And when you can make love to someone's soul, this is how soulmates are created. Everyone wants a soulmate, but they don't know how to do soul mating. So many times when people are in bed with one another, it's ego validation, it's shallow, it's skin to skin, superficial. And then we wonder why our relationships are so shallow. Why do they lack depth? Because you don't know how to have depth. You don't know how to have lovemaking that creates depth in relationship. Tantra creates soulmate connections. This is also why if couples are facing divorce and they're thinking, man, this relationship isn't going to make it, and they want to come and work with me, if I see that the relationship is toxic, there's abusive behaviors, I'm not going to guide them with Tantra, because it's going to create a soul connection. It's going to bond them in such a deep level. Not all people deserve this level of connection with you. The few lovers that I've had this experience with, we have had a deep connection for even decades later that transcends time. And there's also another belief with men of, oh, if she's had a lot of partners, she's not going to really be able to love you. Well, I'll tell you, I had many, many partners. And The partners that I had later in life that I had these experiences with always will hold a place in my heart. One of them that I've had the healthiest relationship, we will always have deep love for one another, regardless if we're with other people or not. Because of that connection, we're able to really be with one another in such a deep, intimate level. When you can make love to someone's soul and really fully see them and be seen, it's completely different. How many times, though, whenever you've been with someone, is there no eye contact, no intimacy? And Tantra eye gazing is intimacy because it's into me you see. But we can be butt naked, doing all kinds of freaky positions. But if someone wants to make eye contact with us, it's like, oh my gosh, this is really awkward and making me uncomfortable because we're not used to fully allowing ourselves to be seen and to fully see. We're always wearing masks, we're always pretending to be someone else. It's always so much about ego and not about our truest essence. What was interesting about the soulgasm part was years later, I was reading a book by Osho who brought Tantra to the West. He's from India. And in one of his books, he described it as a soulgasm. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's exactly how I felt. But so many people in our world don't know how to go to those places. And when you don't know how to go to those places, and you don't know how to fully honor a woman, and for a woman to feel safe with you, she's not going to be at her most orgasmic. If her heart chakra isn't able to open and she's not feeling fully loved or safe, she's unsure of what your intentions are, she's not going to be at her most orgasmicness. G-spot orgasms don't start to flow until the heart chakra is open. These things are connected. And so many men, like I shared in last week's video, are not able to express their emotions. Because as young boys, you're taught not to express emotions. Oh, big boys don't cry. You want to cry, I'll give you something to cry about. So you disconnect from emotions and numb out. And then when you're in an adult relationship, women crave emotional intimacy. And you're like, wait a second, I've never been comfortable with my emotions. You want me to share my emotions with you? That's such an edge of spending your whole life or decades of being disconnected from your emotions. You can only meet someone else's emotions as deeply as you first met your own. So it's a journey within to find out what are your intimacy blocks. Why can you not emotionally connect? When you can emotionally connect with your lover, things will be so expansive in the bedroom. Also, when you know how to regulate your nervous system and be a safe space. Men are taught to be the protectors, the providers, the strong ones, but you're human. You're here having a human experience, which involves having emotion. But if you're always trying to put up the guard and the mask and wear the armor of having this tough exterior, but inside you're really stressed out and things are really messing with you and your nervous system is scrambled and dysregulated, women were very intuitive. We can sense when you're stressed, even when you're trying to put a fake smile on your face and act composed like everything's together. We are animals. Our somatic bodies, we can sense one another. My nervous system can feel that. And it gives the signal of fear and danger, just like animals in nature. They can sense when another animal is startled, and then the herd will flee because it's signaling to everyone around them that there's danger. You could be signaling danger to your partners and not be aware of it. My client, who was in his 60s, had already mastered semen retention and came to me to learn nervous system regulation. His wife started approaching him and initiating lovemaking. He was shocked. I said, how long has it been since she's initiated with you? He says, it has been decades, maybe almost 20 years. He had no idea that his level of stress and anxiety and worry and overthinking and his fears were actually a repelling energy pushing his partner away. When he started to calm and be a safer space and have a regulated nervous system, she felt safe around him. And then she started to open and soften. So many men in our world want a woman that is more feminine. We cannot be in our feminine if we do not feel safe and held by your masculine energy. So when men cannot be safe spaces for women, women are not going to be in their feminine essence around those men because we have to be on guard. We have to be on alert. We may have to hold that masculine energy of getting things done. We can't rely on the partner to do things. One of my clients was like, oh my gosh, my wife is always nagging me. I said, you know what? She's tired of nagging you. But when you will lean into your masculine energy, she will stop when she sees that she can count on you to do it. She is just as tired of it as you are. But these are dynamics that play out in so many relationships. So many men feel, oh my gosh, women, they're just not desiring me, or they're not wanting to have intercourse as often as I want. they're not having the same drive that I do. Women do have a high drive, very high drives. We can actually last so much longer than you can. But women have been taught to watch out for the male ego. Don't make you feel bad. So we'll act like, oh, it's okay. It's okay that it just only lasted so long. I just really love being here with you. And we can really, truly love just having that intimate moment. But also, why do we love those intimate moments? Because sometimes that's the only time a man will start to put down his walls for us. So we'll take it. It's better than nothing. But just giving scraps or the bare minimum is keeping her disinterested, and it's also holding you back. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. How you show up in the bedroom is how you show up in the boardroom, is how you show up in the Zoom room, is how you show up in the world. Men, I know you can do better because I've been with men that have done better. And you deserve to do this for yourself. And women deserve men that can do better. This is how we're going to heal the planet. The healing is not going to come from the battle of the sexes. Feminism is not about anti-men. It's about equality for both. But so many men fear feministic views and want to push back on that. But you're pushing back on women. And if you want to oppress women, you honestly don't deserve to be with women. And don't forget, women birthed men into this world. We're the ones who were the homes for men and for other women for over 9 months. Yes, a man was involved, but his part only took a few seconds. Women went through the labor and the pain to bring life into the world. Yet men can show such disrespect for the very thing that was their very first home. I shared last week. I get it. A lot of us have a mother wound, but the traumas that we experience from our mothers are also traumas caused by the patriarchy. And it's time for us to wake up and be allies to one another and understand what's truly holding us back in our relationships, in our lives, and in the bedroom. And oppressing women or controlling women is not going to improve your love life. It is going to cause more women not desiring men, choosing to be celibate. I've been celibate quite a bit the last few years because so many men that I meet are not a safe space. I have not done all my work to heal my trauma to just enter relationship with a man who has not done any of his work. Men will spend more time going to the gym and working on their bodies than working on their emotional traumas. When men break up, they immediately hit the gym many times. They think, what, the problem in the relationship was their body? The body work that they need to look at is their energetic body, their emotional body, their nervous system. These are the things that you need to focus on making sexy if you really want to be magnetic and attract healthy relationships and experience deep love and intimacy. Men will spend more time going into the gym to work on their bodies than working on their wounds that could help them have better lives and better relationships. Because so many men, they think it's all about looks. It's time for men to go deeper. It's time for men to do better. And I know there's women that need to do better as well. I'm calling all of us forward to do better for one another, for humanity, to have a world that we can all feel safe in and thrive. I dove deeper into this recently on my website on a blog post, and I'll share that link in the description and a quiz that you can take on male stamina. If you want to experience deeper transformation, coaching is available. You can apply for one-to-one coaching with me. And when you complete the application, you'll qualify for a complimentary discovery call to see which of my programs will best support you. Check the description links for the Tantra quiz, blog, and coaching. I look forward to seeing you soon. Blessings.